Welcome to Chapter 1 in our Government and Not-for-Profit Accounting class. We're really going to focus in this first chapter on the government accounting. We're really going to hit the ground running. And by the end of the first week, you're going to need to have read Chapter 1, referring to the reading assignments and looking at the specific pages. Don't worry about reading every word of the chapter. Really focus on the specific pages in the textbook that I have mentioned in the reading assignment. The textbook is really a good reference tool, and so as I said in the introductory video, that you really need to focus on the items that I want you to focus on in this class. That will be the most important things. If you try to grasp every nuance in the book, I'm afraid you're going to be overwhelmed. Okay, you'll have homework to do at the end of the assignment, several questions I want you to answer, and then you'll submit those via Blackboard. And you'll also have a 10-question multiple-choice test that I'll need for you to go through. And I've spelled out the dates for you for those assignments in the first multiple-choice test in Blackboard. A hint, for the multiple-choice test, you've got 10 multiple-choice questions at the end of Chapter 1. Take a close look at those, and you'll probably see them again in the test when you go on to Blackboard. The Blackboard test will be a time test, and I've described the timing involved with that in the notes. Okay, we're going to be studying state and local governments. And as you see in the textbook, state and local governments are divided into counties, cities, and school districts. One of the things we're going to use is the CAFR from the Wake County Public School System, okay, in our class. We're going to be referring to that. And in the notes, I have specific financial reports that I want you to refer to in that. And also, your textbooks list certain bullets that tell you what makes government and not-for-profit organizations unique. No profit, okay? You're not expected to make a profit, but we've got an exception to that in the enterprise fund. An enterprise fund is similar to the Wake County Public School, or is the Wake County Public School child nutrition or cafeteria. You're selling meals to students and faculty and staff, and those are recorded in the fund, in the enterprise fund, and you've got certain cost of goods sold and other expenses in that fund. Notice I said expenses in that fund. So there is sort of a profit motive there. Taxes are an example of revenues that you find in the government accounting. Policy decisions are made by the board, school board, in the example of Wake County Public Schools. Also, you've got the state legislature for the state of North Carolina, which is decision-making, law-making body. And in the federal government, you've got the U.S. Congress. Decisions need to be transparent in government. Another term, they're made in the open or they're made out in the sunshine. You see that as a focus in governmental accounting. Okay, I'm going to introduce to you a few terms. The first one is fund balance. Fund balance is an item in government accounting, and it's built, or it is produced when revenues exceed expenditures. Notice I use the term expenditures instead of expenses. Building fund balance is very important to government entities, especially the finance officers, and they're the chief accountants of those government entities. You can go to the Wake County Public School CAFR, and you can see how fund balance is listed in the general fund, for example, and the dollar amount in fund balance in the general fund. Fund balance is sometimes termed like a rainy day fund. Governments, you never know if there will be an expenditure that occurs where you haven't budgeted enough money for it. A great example of that at Wake County Public Schools is the price of fuel for the school buses. Who knew that gas prices and diesel fuel prices would rise as high as they have? This money was not budgeted when the school budget was set up to begin with. As a result, the school board had to go into its fund balance to appropriate or budget some additional expenditures. Now, I've used several key words here: fund balance, appropriation, and expenditures. Rainy day fund. You never know when unbudgeted expenditures will take place. You may need that fund balance for that fund. Revenues primarily for government agencies and entities, as I described earlier, are raised through taxes. One example I have is Wake County Public Schools are raised through property taxes. And what I've got here, and I'm walking up to the camera and showing you, is an example of a property tax form. If you've got one where your vehicle taxes are paid, or perhaps on real estate, you can take a look at an example of this fund or this form and see where the tax money is going in Wake County.